Shake your shake. Yes, I'm back again. We are still on Women's Series. Hijab is my identity part 2. How was the hijab revealed? Let's go into it. And then you can make up your mind about how the hijab came to be as a rule binding on Muslim women. We already discussed hijab, that it's a symbol to show that you are either a free woman or you are a slave woman that should be molested. So let's go into it. Sahih al-Bukhari 6240, book 79, hadith number 14. Let's read. Narrator Aisha. Umar bin al-Khattab used to say to Allah's messenger. Umar used to say to Allah's messenger all the time. So it was over and over and over. Umar will tell Muhammad, let your wives be veiled. But he did not do so. The wives of the Prophet used to go out to answer the call of nature at night at Al-Manasi. So Umar every time was telling Muhammad, you have to let your wives be veiled. Because look, veiling was a cultural practice in many of the cultures around, even in Arabia. But Muhammad had not made it a rule, a law for Muslim women. It was not, in all those cultures, women are not forced to wear to have a veil, to wear hijab. It's their culture, but women are not forced. When women are going to the market or something, they can just put on a veil. It's cultural. But, so one, you have to understand that the veiling, wearing a hijab, is not something that is new with Islam. It is cultural. It's not Islam that brought what? Veiling. So Muslim women don't think that veiling is from Allah. No, it's cultural. Many of the cultures around were veiling. But it gets very interesting here. So the wives of the Prophet, when Umar was not able to influence Muhammad to make his wife veil, something happened. The hadith says, the wives of the Prophet used to go out to answer the call of nature at night only at Al-Manasi. So the wives of the Prophet, excuse me to say, they were going to poo-poo. They were going to the toilet. And you know, in those days, you didn't have these toilet rooms inside your rooms and stuff like that. You go somewhere in the bush, you squat somewhere, and you do the thing. You know, when you come to Africa, it still goes on. I don't know the other places, but where we come from, it still goes on. You go to the bush, and sometimes it is a hole that's been dug in the ground, and it has sticks on it, and then you get on it and you do it into the hole, open like that. So when you are squatting, somebody far away somewhere can see you, and unfortunately can see your nakedness if you don't cover properly. So Umar, when the wives of the Prophet would go and do poo-poo in the bush somewhere, Umar, look at how nasty Umar was, looking at the wives of the Prophet while they are doing poo-poo and they are uncovered. Yes, Sauda, she was tall and big. Umar said so. Look. Umar bin al-Khattab saw her while she was in a gathering and said, I have recognized you, O Sauda. So Umar, looking at the women far away doing their thing, where the prophet's wife was part of it. Look at how nasty. And this is the Umar who became a caliph. A caliph. You see the kind of people that were following Muhammad? It tells you the kind of person Muhammad was. Okay. Oh, Umar said so as he was anxious for some divine orders regarding the veil. So see, Umar saw them, and Umar had been desiring that the women of Muhammad must be veiled, because he has told the prophet over and over, let your wives be veiled, let your wives be veiled. And Muhammad would not pay attention to him, Umar. So now Umar comes up with a crafty idea. When the wife of Muhammad was among other women going to do the thing, Umar screams, I have seen you, O Sauda. Why? Aisha explained, said so as he was anxious for some divine orders regarding the word veil. So Allah revealed the verse of veiling. Look, so Allah revealed the verse of veiling based on what? Umar constantly what? Vexing Muhammad that he has to bring a verse about hijab. You think hijab is from Allah? Sauda has become very fat as a woman. And Muhammad was no more interested in what? Sauda. So it would not push Muhammad to take action on Umar's what? Constant vexing. But something happened. Sahih al-Bukhari, 7421, book 97, hadith number 49. Narrated Anas bin Malik. The verse of al-Hijab was revealed in connection with what? Zaynab bin Jahsh. You remember Zaynab bin Jahsh? I don't know, those of you that have been on my Facebook page, you remember that I did a video about how Muhammad was snatched his own son's wife. Zaynab bin Jahsh is that wife that Muhammad snatched from his own son. His own adopted son. Muhammad did some fake stuff, kululu, as we say in Ghana, kululu, and then took his own son's wife. And this wife was Zaynab bin Jahsh. On the day of her marriage with him, the prophet, was revealed in connection with Zaynab bin Jahsh. On the day of her marriage with the prophet gave a wedding banquet with bread and meat. She used to boast before other wives of the prophet and used to say, Allah married me to the prophet in the heavens. So the hijab came down because of what? Zaynab. Now Umar says, give what? Revelation. It's not working. Now bring Sauda in. It's not working. Now Muhammad, on the night Muhammad is marrying this woman that he had been flirting with and took from his own son, the verse about hijab was revealed. Let's read about it. Narrated Anas. Oh, let me get you. Sahih al-Bukhari, 5466, book 70, hadith number 95. Narrated Anas. I know about a hijab, the order of veiling of women, more than anybody else. Ubay bin Ka'b used to ask me about it. Allah's messenger became the bridegroom of what? Zaynab bin Jahsh. You remember that? Whom he married at Medina. So Muhammad takes his own son's wife to marry, and then at the wedding in the house, this happens. After the sun had risen high in the sky, the prophet invited the people to a meal. Allah's apostle remained sitting, and some people remained sitting with him after the other guests had left. So there were guests who were coming in and going out. You come, you eat, and you go. But there were some guests, some men, who were sitting and they were never leaving. Other guests would come and go. They were still sitting there with Muhammad. Other guests, possibly they thought they were keeping the prophet company. But the prophet was not seeing it like that. So, look. Then Allah's messenger got up and went away. And I too. So what? Anas bin Malik, when Allah's messenger got up, Anas went with Allah's messenger and followed him till he reached the door of Aisha's room. Okay. So this group of people were not leaving. So Muhammad thought that, okay, I can get up and then go. When I get up and go, since I'm not here, they're also going to get up and go. And then Muhammad came back. Then Allah's messenger got up and went away, and I too followed him till we reached the door. Then he thought that the people must have left the place by now, so he returned. So Muhammad thought that those guys, he left them, they might have left. So he returned. And I also returned with him. Behold, the people were still sitting at their places. So he went back in for the second time. And went along with him too. And I went along with him too. Then we reached the door of Aisha's room. He returned. And I returned with him to see the people had left. Thereupon the prophet hung a curtain between me and him. And the verse regarding the order of veiling, hijab, was revealed. You see how it is? You see how convenient the revelation is? Some people have come to my house and they are sitting there with me on the day I have married this woman that I went to take from my own son. This woman, I went to this woman's house. This is how Muhammad had this woman, Zaynab bin Jash. Muhammad went to visit his own son, adopted son. And at that time, the women were not wearing what? Hijab. So, Zaynab was not wearing hijab. Muhammad sees Zaynab. And then when Zaynab was inside, the curtain blows. Muhammad sees the shape and the figure of Zaynab, and the prophet goes wild, falls in love with somebody's wife, his own adopted son's wife. The prophet falls in love with her. And fast forward, Allah causes this woman to now be for the prophet. And the prophet marries this woman. So this is the woman we are talking about at her wedding. And these people are not living. You see, Muhammad is scared. His own shadows is following him, scaring him. He went to his son's house and stayed there and saw the nakedness of this woman. And here he is marrying this woman. Now, on the wedding evening of this woman, some of his men have visited and they are also not leaving. So, Muhammad thinks, probably these men are interested in my wife. You will understand it. And look, this is how the revelation on hijab came. So, the prophet went and then he put a curtain between him and Anas bin Malik. And then the verse on hijab was revealed. The verse on hijab was revealed. Isn't that so convenient? And see, it is not only the verse of hijab that was what? Revealed. But another what? Funny verse was revealed that day. That explains why I think Muhammad was afraid that the man might take his wives. Quran chapter 33 verse 53. Let's read it. Quran 33:53. Look, this verse comes after the people have come into the prophet's house and won't leave. Look, all you who believe, enter not the prophet's house until permission is given you for a meal. So now, Muhammad is trying to make sure that, hey, people will not even come to his house when he's not there. Unless there is a celebration or something, don't come to his house. Because he thinks that, look, he went to visit somebody's house and took his wife. He does not want anybody to come to his house so that you don't take his wife. You see how convenient the Quran was. That's why Aisha used to say that, I can see that your Lord just gives you anything that you want. Aisha always realized that Muhammad was a rogue, was a fraud. But can she say anything about it? No. She was enjoying the benefit. Read Quran 33:53. Continue. Let's continue. Enter not the prophet's house unless permission is given for you for a meal. And then, not so early as to wait for its preparation. Don't come early to my house. Look, if you are called for something in my house, come only when the food is ready. Don't come early. I don't want you to be hanging around in my house where my wives are. But when you are invited, enter. And when you have taken your meal, disperse without sitting for a talk. Look, so when you come in, you enter, immediately you finish eating, get up and go. Don't sit in my house talking like those guys were sitting there talking. Verily, verily, such behavior annoys the prophet, and he is shy of asking you to go, but Allah is not shy of telling you the truth. You see, so the prophet is shy that the men are sitting there, and he can't say it. I thought that the prophet, they say that everything he says is from Allah. So if the prophet is shy, and the shyness is not from Allah, where did he get it from? And why can't the prophet ask them why everything the prophet said is from Allah? So if Allah is not shy of telling them the truth, then the prophet is also not shy of telling them the truth, because the prophet is the mouthpiece of Allah. You see the contradiction here? And when you ask his wife for anything you want, look, you see now, he is going further and further. Ask them from behind a screen. Hijab. Behind a veil, behind a screen. That is purer for your heart and for their heart. Meaning that I don't want you to be seeing my wives so that you fall in love with them or they fall in love with you. This is all this Quranic verse is about. And it is not right for you. Listen, the prophet is going further and further. You can see how scared the prophet is. He thinks somebody will take his wife. He says, and it is not right for you that you should annoy Allah's messenger, nor that you should ever marry his wives after him. You should not. It's not good that you annoy him. When you do that, you are annoying Allah's messenger. And secondly, you cannot marry his wives after him. What has he been annoying and you marrying his wife got to do together? But like I said, it just tells you that the prophet was afraid. So hijab hijab. It's all about what? The prophet now realizing that some man will be what? Seeing his wives, looking at them, possibly falling in love with them. So if that is it, cover your face, cover yourself, so they won't see you, so they won't fall in love with you. And this is all the brain work of Umar. Share with your friend. Shake your shake.